So after the Ant-Man, which capped off Phase 2, we arrive at
Best movie
Phase
ever.
3, a series of films that are very varied in terms of quality. We start off with Captain America: Civil War, and I'll start us off. I think this is my second favorite MCU movie, behind something else. Anyway, there is a lot of moral tension in this movie. I love the debate that's crafted between Team Cap and Team Iron Man. It's funny. This movie came out the same year as Batman versus Superman, and the only reason they made Civil
Wow.
War is because of Kevin Feige heard they were doing BVS, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Let's do it," and they did a better version of it.
It's
And
crazy.
it's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
I think
Crazy,
that
that's true.
the airport sequence is a great action sequence because it actually is the first and only time we see one group of people with powers fight another group of people with powers, which for some reason the MCU doesn't like to do. It's always a
No.
team of heroes versus a bunch of drones, but the action is greatly improved. The Russos, it's shaky, but again, it goes along with the tone. I think Zemo isn't even the villain. This movie makes Iron Man the villain, which is a
Iron
really
Man's the villain, and a lot of people still don't even
it's a
understand that.
ballsy thing to
It's
do. And
crazy. It's a crazy thing to do. You make your main hero the villain of the unit. Like, that's crazy.
this movie also introduces characters in a way that is the most cohesive it's ever been done. Black Panther fits into this storyline like a glove. I like Black Panther more in this movie than in his own movie, but we'll get to that in a little
Back.
bit. Spider-Man is really well done. My only little nitpick is I don't know why Tony Stark would bring in a 14-year-old kid after his motivation is killing a 14-year-old kid in Sokovia.
I would argue this a little bit, just like he's seeing someone. He probably looked into it, saw that he's broke, saw that he's like he lost, like being raised by a single mom, or maybe
Yeah.
in this version.
Yeah, Uncle Ben is not in
Yeah,
this universe. But
not
and
that they
the
mentioned.
way I
Or
rectify it is Tony Stark is already the villain, so he's endangering a kid, so it makes him even more wrong.
I
So
like to think it's a deterrent, just to let Captain America like see like we're not pushing the boundaries. Like I
yeah,
like
he,
that.
he pushes this little 14-year-old kid as a sacrificial lamb, as a human meat shield. But
Exactly.
it
I
doesn't
mean,
it
maybe he's
doesn't
trying to
Yeah.
distract
appeal.
it doesn't distract
He's
from
from
the
New
thing.
York. Maybe it's trying to.
I'm not gonna bury the lead here. I would put this in S. I love this movie way more than Winter Soldier. This is one of my favorite
Yeah.
comic book movies of all time.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
action's great, the story's great, and it shows the Avengers in their most like non-quippy way, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
I
yeah,
agree.
I'd go with that.
I agree with that. I definitely think this is an S. I think this is probably my favorite MCU movie we ranked up so far to this point.
Mhm.
Captain America, man, he
It's crazy. I really
Crazy.
try my hardest to not like Captain America, but it's like the MCU won't let me. It's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
I think all the stuff with Bucky and Tony's parents, that
Yeah.
stuff was crazy. That
That's
stuff was so
interesting.
emotional.
And
The fight at the end,
this is the stuff that like
Oh, that
works with the
fight was
universe.
fantastic.
Like that's the show. Like it's working with our universe and it's working with his personal things at the
Mhm.
same time. Like it's always
Yeah.
been there.
Tony Stark
Yeah.
saying that that shield doesn't belong to you. My father made that shield. And Caps, you get the face like, yeah, he's right. He just drops the
Right.
shield behind and
Yeah.
abandons that mantle. That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's good about this movie. There's some stuff I don't like. I think War Machine should have died in this movie. I
Yeah.
think
He fell a million
I think
feet from
the
the.
MCU loves kind of just taking away like big moments
Yeah.
like that, like big
Facts.
crucial deaths to the
Yeah.
series just gets kind of taken away. I think that the movie would have been a lot more impactful if he stayed dead, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I can see why people would get mad at like the airport scene for looking kind of gray. It is a
Yeah.
little dry looking,
A
but
little dry
I still
looking.
think it works. There's
Dynamics
so
is
much
a-
hype,
Yeah.
so much hype for people we thought were heroes the whole time going at each other. It was so
Yeah.
hype. I love this movie.
Ant-Man
I think it's
becomes
an easy
Giant
S.
Man and in
Yeah.
a really
Hell yeah.
big moment.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Jeff.
Yeah. Even seeing Spider-Man like interact with all of them, even he has a Spider Sense moment.
Yeah,
Like
it's cool.
it's fun. It's fun. And
Yeah.
yeah, no,
And I
I'm
think
not-
it's only aged better with like the WandaVision stuff too, like
Yeah.
that whole aspect being included into it. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that comes into play later that makes this movie even better.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
I think this is an easy S for me.
that's the best stuff about the MCU. Like that's why like we look, because these things get better and better when, let's say in the future, when things get pay off. I mean, we have stuff like Hulk, which we hate in the future. It makes
gradually
Incredible
just-
Hulk look incredible.
It's a
Incredible
steady
Hulk's great.
decline.
Incredible Hulk's like realistically not phenomenal, but honestly, in contrast to that, like how he ends up, it's like really good.
So Civil War,
Yeah.
you're saying, is one of the things that
Yes.
ages better in terms of what it did. So we all
Yeah,
going with
'cause-
S on this one?
And this is like a
Yeah.
pseudo Avengers movie. Yeah, it's an F.
Like
It's
basically,
a pseudo Avengers movie. So again,
Yeah, I think everybody's great in it. I think Steve Rogers is great. Tony Stark's great. Both reasons I kind of see where they're coming from, but
facts. So,
I think it works really well.
Yeah,
Alright.
that's an argument can be made
Easy
for
S.
it being
Uh-huh.
easy S.
Yeah.
Following that, the next film released was Doctor Strange. Mo, start us off.
all right, Doctor Strange. So this is a weird movie because it visually
It's a
looks
strange movie.
it visually looks it visually looks really good. And I like Dr. Stephen Strange, like I liked his journey about him. Like basically he's like an asshole like Tony Stark, but he's not, but it's a different type. He's more arrogant. Like I don't know.
There's no quips. He's just
There's
a
no
straight
quips.
jerk.
He's like, yeah, he's more of a straight jerk, egotistical, more like less about the quips. And visually looked really good up until the accident and all that, and all that interactions with even Rachel McAdams was good in the beginning. Like it starts really good up until he goes to Camertage and all that. But then this is my problem with, like I was saying, like they skip through, like after that awesome scene where the H1 that's like shows them like the way, like
The
shows them
acid
all
trip,
the-
yeah.
yeah, the acid trip, and then you get to see all like, and it's incredible, and you get to see this, you get another peek at this universe, like this mystical universe of the Marvel. Like again, they're building these things up gradually across the movies. That's like the best thing about Marvel, and you get that, and it's like, oh, it's so cool. And what do they do for the rest of the movie? Wizard karate. What is that?
Yeah.
Like, why did they, like, that's crazy to me. Like, they don't use spells throughout the whole movie. Like
Yeah.
you get like little glimpses of what they could do, and they don't do it, and it's weird. And the villain is horrendous. I don't even know what he is. I don't even know what he's so evil. And
You get fantastic actor Mads Mikkelsen, and you give him this.
He
Could have been a great doctor. You could have been Doctor Doom, but no, he
cuts off a dude's head. That's how the movie starts. The librarians, or I think, right? It was the librarian.
I don't know.
The,
So what grade are you leaning towards?
I'm leaning towards but like the visually it looks good, and H1's good, and they have like good moments, and I do like the beginning. I'm gonna give it a B.
Okay.
I'll give it a
Okay.
B.
Ethan, where do you stand?
So I don't mind this movie. It's okay to me. It's really forgettable. I think we give some of these movies passes just because they introduce different aspects to the MCU. Like I feel this way about Guardians 1 too. Like a lot of the reason why that movie's so cool is because it brings in stuff we've never seen before.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same with Doctor Strange. It brings in a whole lot of different elements that we haven't seen before. But like Mustafa was saying, like the villain is it's terrible. It's really, really bad. I think it's just so forgettable. I think this is the middest of the mid Marvel movies. I think this is a C for me. I think this is, I would give it a C.
I agree 1,000%. This is a movie that I remember when the movie ended and Mo looked at me with like a toothy grin, like, did you like it? And I literally said, that's it. Like, that's it. That's the whole Doctor Strange movie. It's fine. It's not bad.
Like all the visuals were amazing.
Visuals
like,
are good.
It's cool, but like, I mean, Mo said it.
Like
they skip
the
all the
stories
character.
really lack substance.
He skips all of his development. He shows up a damaged man, and 2 minutes later, he's as well trained as the Ancient One is, and he's her equal. And that's so stupid. Like you flash forward all the development. The villain sucks. I will give credit where credit due. I like how he defeats Dormammu by outsmarting him.
Yes.
That
was clever for the time.
That is a great ending. Even now, like, because you don't really get an ending where someone just outsmarts someone. Like that's really. And it's in a grand scale, because you don't know how long he was there. He could have been there for a million years.
He could have been there quite a bit, but we don't know.
And that's cool. Like, and that's ambiguous too. Like,
but we talk about quipping. This movie's got some awful quips. I wrote a few down. I wrote a few down because of how awful they are. Shambhala, what is that? My mantra? No, it's the Wi-Fi password. And then there's another one. It's he's trying to get Wong to laugh, and he's like, "Oh, your name is Wong, like Madonna. It's one word." and like no one's laughing, no one on screen. I'm not laughing, and then he's trying to get him to laugh the whole time, and he gives the the comedy doesn't work. I don't like. I even
Seth
lost
Rogen?
interest
It
in the
lacks.
jokes as I was reading it. This is
Yeah.
the middest of. You said it yourself. This is a when I close my eyes and I think of C
Literally.
Marvel movies, this pops in my head immediately.
Like it's like the definition of a C Marvel movie for me.
Yeah, it's not
I think
bad.
the love interest is pretty bad.
Oh my god,
just-
I forgot about her.
Yeah. Yeah. The love interest can a lot to be desired.
She's not even a love interest. She's there, and then she's they have a little scene in the
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah,
and then
it starts all right. That's the thing. That's my whole thing. Like it starts all right, and then it just
So-
gets weird.
2 C's, 1 B, so that's a C.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a C. Okay, we're making our way through this thing.
All right. Go ahead.
The next thing we have on our list is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. If Mo started us off, then it's Ethan's turn. So start us off with Guardians 2.
Guardians 2. I personally like Guardians 2 more than Guardians 1. That may be a hot take. I don't know.
I agree with that.
I just think I think Guardians 2, I think why I like it so much is because it has character development that most other MCU movies don't have. I think it's one of the best character-driven Marvel movies that we've had. There's a lot of touching moments. The Yondu stuff was just tear-jerking, bro. It was bad.
Who would have thought over Yondu?
Yeah,
I know, like,
I would say
and that's what's great about Guardians too.
Yeah.
Like, it's bringing these emotions out of me for characters that I
yeah.
didn't know 4 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Ego was okay. I thought he could have been better, but it is what it is. I would give this an A personally. I think it's just as good as the first one, if not a little bit better. I think it has a little bit more emotion and character-driven storytelling that I like more personally.
I agree with everything you just said. It felt like in the same way Joss Whedon improved as a director because he hadn't come from big movies. What's his name? James Gunn also improved as a director. I think the movie shot better. I think that there's some wonky CGI and effects that gives me like Star Wars prequel vibes, but overall it looks good. The characters are better fleshed out. Yondu and Nebula are far and wide better here than in the first one.
I think every character in general in the movie.
Every character.
I like Rocket more in this one. I think Rocket's genuinely hilarious.
And this is when we talk about like how we hate like in Avengers 1, like how everyone's like attributes are like just heightened, like
everyone has one attribute. You have one attribute. You have one attribute.
Captain America's an asshole. This is like where we learned about these characters in the first one, and naturally, like Rocket is a jerk. He just goes further with it.
That should create tension in the group. Like,
because it would.
Wild card. And I'll go further. I love Ego as a villain. He's definitely in my top 5. I think that I love Kurt Russell, and it's messed up how he was like seeding. Throwing his seed.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
And I think everything with that and him being a planet is just bonkers, but they did it in a way that felt tangible.
Yeah, it made sense, which is nuts. Yeah. I really thought that was just like a crazy concept that like they made sense, which is another big
So for that reason, I again MCU quipping like that taser face joke.
Oh God, it's horrible. It's horrible. Right, the worst thing in the MCU.
And it isn't as even though I think it's better than one. One is a better paced movie, so I'd give this. I'd put this on the. I'd give it an A. I'd give it an A. If there is A plus, I'd put it over 1, but on the same level, I'd give it an A.
Just like slightly. It's just like a little bit better. Yeah, for me.
Yeah,
right, well,
I originally had Guardians 1 as an S, so I had this Guardians 2 as an A. So
okay. So that works out.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Easy.
Fun. All right. Easy.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Yondu, man.
Yondu.
They all showed up.
Coming up next, a movie that I have just recently discovered my love for. That's Spider-Man: Homecoming. I saw this movie in the theaters, and I remember really, really liking it. I had no major problem. I didn't like how to set this up because there's going to be a debate later on. I love the character of Spider-Man. I read Ultimate Spider-Man, the comics. I played most of the video games. I love this character. I love those Raimi movies. And I saw this movie and I liked it a lot. And I didn't really know where they're going to take this character. I didn't like how he wasn't as, his life wasn't as down on his luck as he was from the comic books, but I do think that the arc of this movie is him realizing I don't have to be an Avenger. I can be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And this movie does, this is the smallest scale MCU movie yet. There is no world-ending army or no evil. The villain, who I think is the second best villain behind Thanos, Michael Keaton's Vulture, is phenomenal. You
He's
put Michael,
amazing.
you put Michael Keaton in a bird suit, and the movie's gonna be out of this world. I think that this movie, I'm not going to bury the lead here. I was going to go A. I'm okay to give this an S. I know that just might be me, but I love Homecoming a lot.
Mm.
I think that's a good introduction for this character. I like this way more than No Way Home.
Mhm.
And I used to not think that, but after rewatching it, first of all, it looks like a real movie, but again, we'll get to that later. It looks great. The comedy isn't, I mean, it's going for that high school John Hughes comedy, so nothing's really too distracting for me.
Yeah.
And I think that it
Fits
being
the
small,
tone. Fits the
it
tone.
fits the tone, and I love
Yeah.
the small scale nature of it.
Yeah.
I'd give it an S. Mo, how
Yeah.
do you feel?
I pretty much agree with you. I had the same kind of issues like when the beginning, because again, now we actually have a full perspective. We realize now that we thought he was already Spider-Man. Now we're realizing with the trilogy,
Yeah.
this is just someone that has powers. He hasn't gone through his arc yet. And this is in a world where the Avengers are very, like, obviously entrenched in this world. So this is a Spider-Man growing up in a world where the Avengers already
He
exist.
would want to be an Avenger. He has
He'd want to be an
powers.
Avenger.
He was
And then
in
all
Civil
these things
War.
make
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, and it makes sense in the tone with the universe. And now that I realize all these things happen to him, that he does have all these things. He isn't broke. Not really. I mean, they say he's broke. He's not really broke. He
He can
hasn't
give
suffered all
Uncle
this.
Tony a call and, you
Yeah,
want a
yeah,
Buick? Here you go.
exactly,
Look
yeah.
outside.
Like, he's not really downtrodden. He doesn't really have bad luck. He has friends. Like, nothing really happens to him that's wrong. And that's like the big thing. I was just like, I don't know where this was going. And now that I see that he had all this to lose it all, now it makes you appreciate these things a lot more. That because he did have all these things.
Tom Holland looks like he's 12 years old in this movie when you
Yeah.
go back and watch it.
and I appreciate that. That's good. And this is like we finally get that young Spider-Man. And now all these things make sense. Like with his suit, like when suit had like all these hundreds of mods. Like I was like, oh, what is that? Like he doesn't need all that. Like he's Spider-Man. Like, he doesn't need all that. But now it makes sense. Like the more as we're seeing with these movies as they go on, he loses more and more. It just becomes.
Well, he loses the suit in the movie, and when he's stuck under the rubble, and he has to, he's calling for help because if you're a 13-year-old kid and you're first in his vote, but no one's coming for him, and he has to realize I'm Spider-Man. He's like, "Come on, Spider-Man!" He lifts up the rubble. That's a great moment. It's a great nod to the comic book. So, what grade would you?
I would go S. All
right, Ethan, how you feeling?
Yeah. So I guess my vote doesn't really matter here, but
we still talk about it. Yeah.
No, I love this movie. Are you kidding me? I think this is a great movie. I think Vulture, it's a great villain. The plot twist of him being the father.
I haven't been as shocked.
I didn't see that coming.
It's genuinely a good.
I didn't see that coming at all.
No one saw that. Yeah.
People in the theater, we were laughing. It was a sustained reaction too, because he's walking in the house, and you're just like, it recontextualizes everything. Because every Spider-Man villain's always connected to Peter Parker through some twisted way. In this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like him being like a simple one. Like he's like it makes you see things a little differently because it is Tony Stark that created damage control, so they're getting paid.
Yeah, Tony Stark sucks, dude. I'm sorry.
No,
go ahead, Ethan. That was
going to be my biggest problem with the movie. I think at this point in the MCU, I'm getting a little tired of Iron Man. We came off Civil War, which was basically half of Iron Man's movie. We've had an Iron Man trilogy, 2 Avengers movies. It's been a lot of Iron Man so far. I get on one hand why he's in this movie. He is like the father figure to Spider-Man, obviously. But I don't know. I would like less Tony Stark in this movie. But other than that, I think this movie's fantastic. I would give it an A personally, but I can go with that.
The thing is, I agree with you, but that point more comes up for Far From Home with me. We'll get to that. But if you think about it, they put Iron Man in every poster and trailer. He's only in the movie for like maybe 12 minutes. He pops up to give him a little pep talk, and then he takes the suit away from him, and then he kind of has
just like the big boat scene they were teasing for a long time. That all got saved
Yeah.
by Iron Man. Like it was like
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
don't
showed
know.
him as a failure, though. I mean,
I
like that
kind of
was
like to see him do. I would like to see Peter Parker do something.
I
Yeah.
Like
understand.
even the final fight, like he barely even won that. If you even want to
he
consider it a
didn't
win,
want it. He just didn't.
Yeah.
He just tried to. He just made sure he didn't die. That's all he did.
survived. Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
And he brought down the plane without killing him.
He
So
did make it.
yeah.
I
But
didn't like
do
that he
think it's
didn't
a
kill
great
anyone.
introduction.
And it's
It's a great
simple. He's
introduction,
in
yeah.
New York, and it's like he's doing neighborhood stuff. That's the yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
small scale, but I
I
like
gave
it
it
a
an
lot.
A, but I can see it being an S too. I
Okay.
have no problems with that.
All right, but it's gonna be an S then.
I mean, S. Following this, we have Thor Ragnarok, and
Mm.
Mo, this is your time to
All
shine.
right, I'm gonna, dude. This movie just makes me feel like a man. Like I don't know why this movie is just. This movie is just so incredible. I don't know. I might. It just is so rewatchable. I just don't know why. I think it's like with the music and with the visuals. I will say sometimes the visuals do get a little dull, but I think this is like we're gonna see as we're progressing more and more. Like some of these visuals get a little I guess because I guess there's like
It's most of Phase 3.
yeah, it's like there's 15 of these movies being pumped out a year. Like obviously they're not gonna take their time like they used to. So
Yeah,
and like that's the real issue with it sometimes. But other than that, like I think it's insane. They finally redeemed Thor. They finally made him a good character, which is crazy. And it's I mean like they didn't know quite who he was. Now we know he's like this jokey whatever. But even still, like they committed and it's good. And the improv stuff worked with this movie. Surprisingly, I didn't think it would. And it's just so nuts. Like with the characters, like Korg is one of my favorite side characters ever. Like I definitely like. I mean, if it's up to me, I'll definitely go A on this.
Hey, okay.
yeah.
Ethan.
yeah. I would also put it in A. I really like this movie. I think it's really funny. I think this movie was necessary for Thor.
Yeah.
The first two Thor movies are just really, really bad in my opinion,
Yeah.
and I think Taika Waititi really just brought life into the character. Yeah, I have no problems with A. I would also go A.
I would also go A as
Everything
well.
you said, I agree with.
Yeah.
I think what keeps it from being an S is it feels like Taika Waititi was coming in with so much baggage from
So
Thor.
much
Like,
baggage.
it's like Kevin Feige is like, here's the Warriors 3. And he's like,
yeah, he kills. All right, I just kill him.
immediately kill him off.
Yeah.
And it feels like there is a slight disconnect between the stuff on Sakaar, that weird Jeff Goldblum planet, and the Asgard stuff. But I mean, Mo said everything I would agree about with the positives. It's what gave Thor like what he needed. Thor's now my favorite Avenger because of this movie.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
This movie handles Loki the best in that he's just a little arrogant.
he's
pissed
an
off.
arrogant business. Yeah, he's not like the main villain. That's why I'm
No.
saying. Like I
Yeah.
never saw this version of Loki. He's just like the mischievous little brother. Like that's really what he is.
And
like,
at the end, Thor outsmarts him. Like I
Yeah,
know all
yeah.
your tricks. I'm used to this. You betrayed me for 5 movies in a row, and it really put him in his place, which I like.
Mhm.
And Kate Blanchett's a good villain. No one doesn't talks about
Yeah.
her.
it's
but
fine.
she's
Again, it's not
fine.
these are hero centric movies. It's not
Eurocentric
really,
Yeah.
movies.
So-
I'm going A.
And I
so
like
we're
how
all-
it ended. It wasn't like a typical MCU movie ending.
He
where,
realized,
they lost. Like
he
it
wasn't
wasn't
powerful enough to beat Hela. They had to outsmart her by letting Ragnarok happen.
Yeah,
which is
I
an
like
interesting
like
using the
twist.
right way.
Interesting twist. Yeah,
it was cleverly done.
and even
think
like
it
you
was- yeah.
reinforced by his dad. Like what's it called?
you've-
Asgard's a place, not a
Place,
It's
not
a
a people.
It's a people.
Yeah,
bro.
all those scenes were
Wow.
great with Odin. All
Yeah.
those scenes were really good and emotional.
Yeah.
I like this.
Finally kill him because God, I cannot take another Odin sleep, bro. That was nuts.
He took the final Odin sleep. He took the final one.
This is the final Odin sleep.
All right, so we're all in agreement. That's an A. I gotta say, I think
Yeah.
our list is pretty well balanced so far. I mean,
Yeah.
and now as Mo is dragging that, the next one I believe, Black Panther, and I think this is Ethan. Do you start off?
This will be me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Black Panther. I think Black Panther is mid. I think it's another one of those Marvel movies where it's just like mid Marvel. I think it has really good moments. I think Killmonger is a great villain. I really like the first 2 acts. I think the third act it really falls off hard. I think the
Yeah.
CGI in the final fight scene looks god
Horrendous.
Yeah,
Horrendous.
it's
God,
horrible,
like some of
horrible.
the worst CGI of the MCU.
We got
so
we
far.
got a good look at Infinity War. Our sacrifice was Black Panther.
I know, like I guess.
Crazy. Great Kevin's.
But-
Oh.
Yeah, I think Killmonger's great. I think him fighting Chadwick Boseman and overtaking the throne. I liked all that.
Yeah, that's all cool.
But I don't know. I think the third act really kills the movie for me. I liked Killmonger dying. I like that scene
Yeah.
a
It's
a
lot.
nice
but
scene.
The fight
The
itself
rawest
was
thing,
just,
and then died. And I was like, oh my god, that's wild.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
other than that, I think it's middle of the road for me. I would give it a C.
Give it a C. I would agree with that. Again, most of the origin movies in this are like the weakest ones for me. Like this, Doctor Strange, Thor. To me, again, I said it with Civil War. I like Black Panther more as a character in Civil War than he does. He has no arc in this
Oh
movie.
yeah,
He
same,
had
same.
his arc
Yeah,
in
so
Civil
It's
War.
way
his
better in
arc,
Civil
we
War
didn't
than
actually
this.
talk about his arc in Civil War is incredible.
He
It's
goes
And the
from
fact that he
phenomenal.
shows up in the movie is crazy, and it works perfectly.
and it works
What's
perfectly.
going
I think that's part of the reason why that this movie's so low for me is because of how good he was
He
in
was in
Civil
Civil
War.
War. Even the action scenes, and normally director Ryan Coogler, he did the Creed movies. He's good with action, but for some reason
Yeah.
he literally, you can tell Marvel did most of the action. It looks bad. The character who goes through the most change is Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger,
Yeah.
but he disappears for a good 45 minutes.
I
Yeah.
also hate, this is another of random escapes that I just hate. when Killmonger takes out what
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
He
is,
shoots him with the grenade.
yeah.
Black Panther just stops, and the car is moving 20 miles an hour. He just lets him get away.
And we just saw the Tokyo scene, so you know he can chase him like that. Like he can literally crawl through walls and like chase. So it's not like, I mean, he could have been shocked, but it doesn't matter. The shock he would have went after.
It just sucks because with the talent, the talent both in front of the camera and behind the camera, they deserved a better movie.
Yeah, a better movie. I think this.
I will say the introduction of Wakanda was like beautiful.
Yeah, when they
Wakanda
go
looks
through when you see
incredible.
Act one is really good. That's what
It's
they
so
should.
good.
Like, Act 1 and 2
The
is
chase
good.
scene.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I don't like the purple energy suit. That's like it shoots out this purple energy. Again, Civil War, he has no energy. He's basically Batman with no cape. He's got the Wolverine claws. Yeah, we're good. So I'm going C. Mustafa, where do you stand?
I was gonna put it as B, but I completely understand. Like that makes sense. But I had it at B. I do think Killmonger is one of the best villains. That's really what. And then some of the visuals, even when the rest like lack, but some of the visual moments are awesome. Like even like at the end, like watching the sunrise, them entering Wakanda. Obviously, Wakanda itself as a character, that is a hard thing to do. Make a place like feel good and new.
Yeah, I thought Wakanda looks amazing. It feels so real.
It's awesome, and it's so different. Like we've never really seen.
The supporting cast is really good.
Too. What's it called? Shuri's awesome. All like M'Baku's incredible.
Awesome,
yeah.
Like it's just that last fight scene really kills a lot of that movie.
It's a whole act of the movie. Yeah.
The ending is the most important part, and when you botch the entire third act, it's just
Yeah.
So are we going with C?
Yeah, we're gonna go with C.
As you drag that to C, let's go with something we'll take maybe 30 seconds on because I feel like it doesn't need Infinity War. We're all S. Is everyone saying S?
It's a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie.
It's the best MCU movie. Yeah.
Easily, yeah.
All right.
Best MCU movie.
Figure we only have like 9 minutes. Let's not waste time. Put Infinity War at S.
It's easily an S.
It is literally
it's so different from anything they've ever done. It's a saga about the villain. Like
the villain wins.
I love
The villain is the main character. It is insane. It's never.
It's so different. They've never done that up to this point.
It's insane. It is absolutely insane. There's 900 characters in this movie, and somehow it's paced perfectly. It doesn't make any sense. This movie makes no sense. And the key was to split everyone up, but in a way that doesn't make sense because these people are split up because of whatever, like Guardians or whatever. But like Civil War split them. Like these all make sense with where they were going with the universe and what's happening. Because I mean, my theory was that they were gonna always win if they were together. Jeff disagrees with me here. I said like they were gonna win if they were all together. Like let's say Civil War didn't happen, I think they would have won. I think that's like the main like sadness of this. But yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how I would disagree with that.
I would disagree with that too. I think they didn't have the will to do it.
I think they had their best people on Earth.
Yeah, they didn't have the will to see it through. So Infinity War S. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I will start this off. This is an F. This is, along with Thor 2, extremely weak, especially in comparison that it literally comes out after Infinity War. And Kevin Feige must have realized, oh crap, I forgot to explain the quantum realm. So let me make a whole
Yeah.
movie dedicated to explaining the quantum realm. I think that
Yeah.
Ant-Man itself is a character you can do very little with. They had to pad it out with villains. Walton Goggins was like a thief trying to get the lab. You had that weird ghost lady. You had Lawrence Fishburne as Giganton or whatever his name. It's so it felt like a storyline that could have been a 30-minute Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode, but they padded it out. It overstayed its welcome. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's charming. I'm going F. Mo?
It's an F. I absolutely hate this. This is horrible.
Yeah.
The why, like, especially
Wholeheartedly
after
agree.
following Infinity War, and you're literally making a whole movie to explain one little thing you could explain. God, in any other which way, just not like this. Like it is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. There's
It's
no
bad.
reason to do this. I did like the after credit scene. You literally could have made that after credit scene at the end of Infinity War, and I would have gotten the exact literally this whole.
That's the issue. The whole movie is irrelevant. It's
Yeah.
the movie was made for the after credit scene, so it's like it's brutal in that way. I agree. It should have been the after credit scene.
They're yucking about. I mean, it's funny, I guess. I again, like I said, like
it's not even funny though.
Ant-Man 1 is funnier.
Ant-Man 1 is way funnier.
Ant-Man 1 is funny. I would say it's a little bit funnier. I would have put it at D, but all right, I had definitely.
You're not going to stand your ground. You're not going to
I'm
die on the
not-
Ant-Man.
I'm not dying on
Sue
that.
Hill?
Nah, I definitely had this one at F too.
Good.
So.
And the hits just keep on coming. Captain Marvel. Mo, start us off.
All right, I think this movie is completely unmemorable. This is the worst lead. This is the worst. I couldn't even tell you exactly. Like, this movie is just so unmemorable. The Jude Law character was completely butchered. Doesn't even make any
Jan
sense.
Rog.
Yeah. Yes, Jan Rog. And it completely you don't remember anything about the movie because everything's just so they ruined Nick Fury's character with the cat. Remember, like you think, Nick Fury, this like crazy spy, he got this eye, maybe someone betrayed him or like he lost his eye. No, it's this dumb Flurgan or cat.
No, the cat did
Yeah,
betray him.
yeah.
He tried to pet the
tried to-
cat,
it's just like
thinking, and the cat scratched him. That's betrayal.
it's when the joke takes better precedent over actual character and story or whatever. Yeah, that's the stuff that like I really hate. And Captain Marvel, I don't even know what she is. Like I couldn't even tell you like if she's like happy to be there, she's sad. Why is she doing this? Like her mentor was cool. I didn't
Who?
like her. Huh? The person, the
What was her name?
it was the person. She was cool.
I genuinely don't know what mentor. Jan Rog wasn't the mentor.
It was no, it wasn't Jan Rog. It was she was like in the Infinity. Yeah.
Annette Bening, the
Yeah,
actress.
yeah.
I
her.
don't know who she was playing. I don't
Oh
know who she
yeah,
was.
I don't remember.
Well,
bro.
regardless, I'm just giving it that. All right, and I hate it. I was like, because I like Guardians. Like I said, I love Guardians 1. I thought they were bringing back Ronan to make him do like, oh, he's gonna be like really like they're gonna redeem him. They're gonna do something cool with him. He's even worse here. I'm like, that's nuts. You brought him back for him to be mid.
Yeah.
Also, they brought back Coulson. Why? For no reason. They de-aged him. I'm like, why? Like. You didn't have to. I mean, like you can say he's connected, but you could have easily done that with a phone. Like you didn't have to de-age this guy, bring him back. Like
Yeah.
So where are you leaning? What grade?
I'm leaning F. Like because this is supposed to be one of the main. Like and the whole Avengers thing is named after her because that's like the whole thing.
It was her call sign on the jet.
That's the issue. They purposely go back with stuff that like we didn't need explaining to, and they ruin it. Like the Nick Fury's eye. They ruined that. The name all based out because of this one time with I'm like, well, what about like hundreds? They could have been hundreds of other inspirations, especially in this world by then.
You don't need inspiration.
In
They
the
were
90s.
They were avenging the death of Coulson. They were the Avengers. You don't
They were
need
the
to
Avengers.
explain this.
You don't. Yeah. Again, it's like further for nothing. Yeah. So yeah, I
Ethan,
go F.
how you feel?
I mean, I have some strong feelings for this movie. Mustafa summed it up pretty well.
Also, I
think.
figure we should end this video because we have 2 minutes left with Captain Marvel and pick up with the others. Okay, so let's just round this out. So yeah.
Okay, so I wholeheartedly believe this movie shouldn't have come out at least before Endgame. I think if this and Black Widow swapped places,
Yeah.
I think that would be so much better because
especially
spoiler,
because
I
she
guess,
dies in
but-
Endgame.
Yeah, and like it would have been more
like
impactful.
she dies in Endgame, and I think if Captain Marvel shows up in Endgame with no backstory, she looks way cooler in Endgame.
She does.
Like
look
I will
cool.
stand by
I
that.
agree
They
with
did
you.
that with
I
Black
agree with
Panther and Spider-Man in Civil War, and
Yeah,
it
like
worked out.
if
I
she just
agree with you.
shows up, it's like whoa.
I'm not gonna
what the hell?
lie.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie. Now that you said that, like now that I think of that, that would have actually been kind
it
of
would have
dope.
worked.
Because I
20
hate
times
her,
better,
like
bro.
otherwise.
She shows up and she's like, "Why haven't you guys beaten Thanos? I can do that with one
Yeah.
hand tied behind my
I'm
back."
like,
I go,
oh,
who
like,
is
what is she-
this? Who
like,
is
yeah,
this?
like what is she capable
Yeah.
of? Like,
I
But
mean,
then-
I don't want to rant too much
Yeah.
on this movie, but like the first act, I just didn't even know what was going on. The first 45 minutes, I was so confused. I genuinely had no idea what was happening for the first like half hour of the movie. I think it's the most forgettable Marvel movie. I think it's genuinely the worst Marvel movie. It's easy F for me.
I'm gonna basically agree with everything you guys have just said. I think they pulled it. Marvel does this thing where they pull the directors off from like TV shows. They pulled as a duo
Yeah.
from a TV show like Parenthood or some dumb crap like that. So you can
Uh,
tell there's no vision. We talk about the gray. This movie is very gray. There's no
Gray.
sense of
Mhm.
cosmic wonder. They
Yeah.
don't know how to write Captain Marvel. They try to give her the stoicism of Steve, but they give her the quips of Tony. It does not mesh. And Brie Larson has won an Academy Award. She's a great actress. She does not know how to play this character because the
Yeah,
writers
she doesn't know which character she wants to
they
be.
keep exactly, and you can tell that. So at least with all these other movies, that's why I wouldn't give Thor like an F, Thor 2, or because at least it understood Thor. This movie doesn't understand its titular character, and that's the number one thing you have to do.
and that's their main thing because when they do it, it always above mid or above mid.
Yeah.
Because they do the hero stuff well, and then when you can't do
Yeah.
the main thing that you're known,
I agree.
for, that's
I
like
didn't think of it that way, but that does make
When
sense.
you
'Cause
fail
I
at
had
the thing
all
that
of these movies
yeah.
in F,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it does make sense. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would put Thor 1 higher than Captain Marvel.
That's
yeah,
exactly
that-
why.
yeah.
So the
Fair
video is
enough.
wrapping up. We're going to continue with the rest one, but yeah, we'll put Captain Marvel at F. Sorry,
All right.
to all the Captain Marvel fans out there.
Ended on a downer.
We'll end it on the rest of them. We'll go through the rest of them in the next one. We think I think we can do it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Phase 4.
Yeah.
Oh, we can do it. Yeah.
We can do it. We can do it.
Yeah. It's all
Alright,
TV
sounds-
shows.
Thanks. All right.
All right.
Fun.